Mr. Houston? Here. Mrs. McDaniel?
Here.
Mrs. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Stoffer?
Here.
Mr. Wylage?
Here.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the December 4th, 2023 agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Wylage?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. Commendation and good news, Titan Hill Student Council.
All right, we have our student council, and they're going to talk to us about the penny wars. Is that right? All right. Pop on up.
These are some of the members of our 2023-24 Student Council leadership team, and they have come to share with you about information about our current fundraiser. We just completed. It was for the Penny Wars, and we were splitting our fundraising money in half with the Ronald McDonald House. So we'll let our student speakers go ahead and introduce themselves and tell us who you are, and go ahead and speak. Go ahead and tell your part.
My name is Reese. In September, the school board approved for the Titan Hill Student Leadership Team to host Penny Wars.
My name is Maple. I am Lucy. During this time, classrooms collected coins. Silver gave positive amounts where pennies were negative amounts, to be donated to the Ronald McDonald House in Omaha.
Hi, my name is Emmy. Ronald McDonald House pays for families to have free food and housing while a child is receiving care at University of Nebraska Medical Care.
Hi, my name is Maverick. Our national goal was to raise $500.
Hi, my name is Quinn. Hi, my name is Melania. We ended up raising a total of $3,060.
My name's Audrey.
My name is Reagan.
Half of the amount, $1,530, will be donated to the Ronald McDonald House.
Hi, I'm Maya.
I'm Lizzie. Members from the Ronald McDonald House will be joining us at our next meeting on January 18th to receive the donation.
Hi, I'm Jayla. Ronald McDonald House will use the money donated to pay bills, cleaning supplies, food, and laundry services.
Hi, my name is Viola. My name is Arya. Just 25 provides a warm meal for a family.
The other half of the money will be added to our Student Council leadership budget to support upcoming projects for our building and for teachers.
Hi, my name is Annika. Upcoming projects for us include determining a spring donation drive.
Purchase some additional necessities.
My name is Cooper, and we'll be making teacher appreciation bags in March.
My name is Claire. Planning an activity for spring family.
Thank you for our continued support with our student leadership team.
Now, can we ask you guys some questions? Really hard questions, is that okay? And you guys are graded forever, okay? All right, here we go. Question number 1. Is being in the student council fun? Yes. Okay, you passed that one, that's good. Okay. What is your, so far, how many of you guys are new to student council this year? Raise your hand. And how many of you have served before? A couple of you served before. So my question is for you that are new this year, what so far has been maybe the thing you like best about being on student council? Yes.
Being able to help others.
Being able to help others.
The penny wars.
The penny wars has been your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine is being a part of a student council community.
Oh, very cool. Yes.
Teachers.
Teachers. Okay. Yes.
Making donations and helping other people in need.
Helping other people in need. Awesome. Anything else you guys love so far? What do you guys have that's like coming up? Like what else do you guys do besides, let me back up. What else does the student council do besides fundraisers? Like what else do you guys do? Yes, Miss Lucy.
We lead our school and in our community.
Okay. Lead your school and your community? Yes.
We are student ambassadors.
You're what now?
Student ambassadors.
Student ambassadors. What does that mean?
I forgot how to explain it.
Give it-
I'm giving you samples of what to do and what right things to do is.
Oh, just like good role models, huh? Yes.
We make projects for our school,
Okay, like what?
like oh yeah, teacher bags.
Teacher bags. Awesome. Okay, yes.
They say the Pledge of Allegiance.
What's that?
They say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, you guys said the Pledge of Allegiance? That's like nervous, isn't it? Like, don't want to mess that up. No. Yes.
We do fun activities that not others get to do.
You get to do some fun activities. All right.
We get to be role models for the rest of our class.
That's awesome.
We get to go on field trips. Like last year we went to Noyer's Garden and get some flowers for the outdoor classroom.
Oh, very cool. All right. Board, do you guys have any other questions of this fine group?
Is this the most you guys have ever raised for the Penny Wars, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, last
What does the winning class get?
New car. Oh,
Let's see, who hasn't answered a question yet? In the back. No, sorry. Yes.
They get a ice cream sundae party and donuts.
Ice cream sundae party and donuts. So whose class raised the most? Okay.
Donors.
Reese, whose class raised the most?
Mrs. Cox. It was Mrs. Devine who raised the most. The most, okay. Yes.
What day is that? Because I want to come.
And who's in Mrs. Devine's class? Who's in Mrs. Devine's class?
This year.
This year.
This year, second grade.
Who is, oh! If anybody's wondering out there, that's actually my daughter, so. Maybe she was just trying not to tell me who her teacher was, so. Okay, you guys did awesome. Thank you guys so much for all you guys do throughout the year as role models and as leaders in your building. And thank you for raising money that's gonna help a lot of people, so. All right? Yes,
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you, parents, for raising such excellent individuals. So, and
Absolutely.
you guys can stay for the whole meeting, or you can go. That's up to you. I'm joking. You guys can go.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
She doesn't like you much, does she?
She usually doesn't. Yesterday and today, she's been daddy's girl. I don't know what happened. Turned the corner,
Weather change.
I guess. Usually she avoids me like the plague.
Well, that emptied out.
Yeah. Now we only have 5 more than we typically have in a meeting.
Okay, we'll go on. Is there any other commendation and good news?
That's it for tonight.
All right. Does
The-
anyone else have any?
One act play was this last weekend. I did not get to attend, but I heard that it went very well. And in fact, our own Alan Straight had to step in and play the role of one of the students because they didn't
really?
I think it was they didn't realize that state cheer was this weekend or state dance.
Oh.
I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but yes, so Mr. Straight did step in for the kids, one of the kids.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anyone else? All right, we'll go then to comments and suggestions. This is the first time during our agenda that anyone in the audience or anyone online can address the board. All right, hearing none, we'll go on to our consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Do we have an updated personnel sheet?
Yes, there is an updated personnel sheet with very minor adds. We forgot the effective date on Elijah Holt, and then down below, there was an additional officiating contract that came in for Robert Johnson.
Is there any discussion? Vote, please.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel? Yes. Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Wyledge?
Yes.
Miss Adkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheffel?
Yes. Acceptance of election abstract.
So the election abstract has Amy Adkins, Alex Sorensen, and Timothy Wright were all elected to the 3 4-year director terms. Alex Sorensen was also elected to the 2-year vacancy, and public measure RZ and SA failed.
So the biggest thing is that we will have, Alec has indicated, and that he will be taking the 4-year seat and vacating the 2-year seat, which means that the board will have a 2-year seat that they will need to fill, and we'll talk a little bit about more during the next meeting. That's number 11.01. We'll discuss that a little more in detail.
Okay, is there any discussion? All right, then
Can I
we'll
get a
go.
motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mrs. McDaniel? Yes. Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Wyledge?
Yes.
Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheffel?
Yes. Examine financial accounting of books for fiscal year 2023.
So these were included in your packet. This is the treasurer's report, so it is our cash basis report. Just a quick overview of it. The general fund and activity fund stayed very close to being neutral. The management and enterprise funds increased, and Save Pepple and the other capital projects as a whole just had a slight decrease, and our debt service decreased due to a timing of a bond payment.
Is there any questions, any discussion? Okay, do we need a motion to accept?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Wyledge?
Yes.
Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel? Yes. Mrs. Sheffel?
Yes. Board review. I had sent out the standards for effective school boards, the Lewis Central self-evaluation, since we do have board members that are leaving. And just to go over it briefly, I know Jen is not here. I'll send that to her in the email, or in an email. But with this self-evaluation, there's a visionary, or we're supposed to rank it or rate the questions for the visionary team, district culture, or visionary team, student learning, district culture, fiscal responsibility, advocacy, and the board meeting structure. There are 7 overall. And everyone has a copy of this. We did not have any rankings. It's 0 through 10. We didn't have anything below a 5. Each response, so each person, every board member, there's 7 questions, so we could have up to 70 points per question. So that was a total of 490 total points. So what I did was I went online and I got the high school grading chart and went through, and at the very end of the question, the evaluation, board members could choose the grade they thought we got overall. We had 5 board members that gave ourselves a B, and 2 board members gave ourselves an A. But then when you go back to the ratings that were given, I have a summary here. We had 3 that actually, with their ratings on each standard, there's 3 that, with the ratings total, gave what they gave overall. So if adding all the numbers up, like one was 61 points, which was a B, and that's what they gave overall. Another one had 69 points because the total was 70. That was an A. And that's what overall. So we had 3 board members that gave, but the other ones, if you looked at their ratings of each standard, we did have some that overall thought that the board was doing a grade of a B, but by their points that they gave, it was actually a D. So I don't know if understanding how the rating, would work, but I'm just glad that the board felt that under a self-evaluation that we were basically a B if you add everything together. There was 422 points altogether out of 490, which is 86%, which is a B. So adding them all together, I think that our self-evaluation is that there's still things that we need to improve on, but overall, I think that we work well together. And I think that, and that's good for Lewis Central. There's no glaring things out there that, just from our self-evaluation, that we thought that needed to be discussed. And we will discuss this more later in the second board meeting because we have 2 new board members coming on. And this is also learning for them and what the board as a whole feels with the self-evaluation. Are there any questions or comments that anyone wants to make on the results that we got? Okay. And we have that for an action item to approve
Yep,
or
the-
what's
yep,
presented
your
in the
organization,
second
yep.
meeting. So then we'll go on. Is there anything else we need to do during this meeting?
Just say goodbye to some great board members who,
And that can be on our review too.
Yep.
And so we do have Brian and Daryl that are, chose not to run for reelection on behalf of the board. Thank you so much for serving. Brian, how many years?
8.
8 years. And Daryl?
a short 29, right?
No, it's actually a long 29.
29.
29 in 3 months.
29, 3 months.
And how many superintendents?
6.
6 superintendents.
Who was the
You've been
best
here for
looking
half
one?
of them.
6 superintendents, 24 board members, 4 decades, and 2 centuries.
Wow.
Started in 91, and I was off for 3 years, and then came back, ran, and
The rest is history.
the rest is history.
Well, thank you for your years of service and for all you've done for the school district and the students and the community and myself and the other board members here. Appreciate your time, and you too, Brian, you too, Travis. I mean, thank you guys so much for all you guys have done. I mean, it's a thankless job. I'm sure, I don't know if you can count 29 times where somebody thanked you for serving on the board in 29 years.
Not yet.
Not yet. So, that's what people run for the board, and they do it because they want to serve, not because they want to be somebody. And I think that's you guys have, the best board members that I've seen. That's in the top of their head is how can I serve and help out the community and the students and the staff. So, thank you guys. So.
And I apologize, Travis. Thank you. Because I was looking this way, you should have seated them all together. So I get whiplash going back and forth. Thank you for all you've done for Lewis Central and for the kids, because I know that's, you brought a perspective with the special education, and we know that you're in classes and visiting, and that makes a big statement there. And so thank you for serving. And how long have you
Just on and off for a little over 3 years.
Okay. Okay. And at one time, a term was 3 years, and then they changed it to 4 years, so, yes. So, anyone else?
Any comments as you exit?
Nah, it's just been a privilege representing the district, so, did a lot of crazy stuff during the time with COVID and everything else, so, very, very blessed to have been part of the board.
I did have an hour and a half that could cover 29 years.
Oh, perfect. Do you have a
But I condensed-
slideshow?
I condensed it down to a
Do
few
you?
minutes. That
You
way
know.
nobody has to think that, well, that's an hour and a half of my life I'll never get back.
Do we need to get one of those, what are those old, like you put the pictures in there and
Oh,
then flip through the pictures? Do we
You
need
can do
to
that.
get that out for you?
Microfiche, sure.
Mic-
A little
yeah.
slideshow?
Microfilm, we need to get that for you?
Yeah. No, just a couple things out of the past. Other than 29 years and 6 superintendents and 24 board members, I was able to hand all 3 of my kids their diplomas. And you see the train running out in back of the high school and the operations building?
It's been quiet lately.
I don't see that train either. Back in the early 90s, my first term, we dealt with the railroad, and they hammered down tracks. And the agreement we signed with the railroad was if they ever took up the tracks and didn't use the rail bed, they'd have to ask Lewis Central's permission to put rails back. Those guys from the rail company, they all laughed. I was still here. I remembered we had that agreement and told Mark. Anna found it, and that railroad got moved to where it should be. So that was one thing I did.
It's awesome.
Geothermal. I kind of spearheaded that for energy efficiency in our schools. Our geothermal bid was $490,000 more than a conventional heating system. It figured out we would save $70,000 a year in heating costs. So at 7 years, we had payback. And after that, depending on what the price of natural gas would be, it was at least $70,000 a year payback. So over, let's say, a 20-year period, that helps pay teachers' wages. Because it's a general fund expense.
Yep.
And let's see. Oh, yeah. Somewhere back in the 90s, we had a 9-inch snowstorm. At that time, they had to hire a contractor to come in and move snow. The bill was $15,000. So I mentioned to the superintendent that we have our own people, why can't we move our own snow? Well, we'd have to pay overtime. I said, but the guy that's moving our snow is paying overtime to his guys because they're here from about midnight till 7 in the morning, and they've been out all night. So why don't we take the $14,000, and this was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Let's buy ourselves a tractor that has a loader on it. Pay our guys overtime. We can get it done ourselves. And we moved away from that and started doing that part of it ourselves again. And transitioning our fleet from gasoline to diesel. We were replacing gas engines, and I had mentioned to our transportation director that why don't we look at converting these over to diesel engines? So they came up with a price and started converting, and our maintenance costs have gone down ever since we went to diesel. So that wasn't an hour and a half.
That wasn't. I wish you could have provided some old-timey pictures, though. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Maybe people slinging the hammers on the railway, you know, and you stopping them, laying across. Is that how you stopped them?
I did that.
Did you lay across the rail? They're like, no,
I did
we will
that.
not pass. Is that what you did?
I did that.
No, reality. Thank you for
It was interesting
your
times.
service. Yeah.
It still
For sure.
is. Yes. So, thank you all. Did you have something to say, Travis?
It's just been a great honor, and I feel privileged for all the opportunities that board members get, and to new board members, I just implore you to take every opportunity you can to get into schools. You definitely get back way more than the time you spend.
Definitely. Well, thank you all.
Yeah.
Anything else? Would one of you like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Man, that was quick.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, guys.
Yep. There's cookies.
Yeah.
Take a cookie for the road. Oh, look at that. Oh, don't forget your little placard.
Oh, we have to sign one more time.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh. That is yours. You have yours.
I have mine.
Sign that.
You have one of the OG ones there.
Thank you, ma'am.
You are welcome.
The name, it's different than all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is a wood grain looking one.
You just
Mine's
hold on to
old.
that, Daryl, because you
Mine-
never know.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
Need it back.
Mine's old.
Yeah.
If we have a board workshop for the new board
I like-
members, maybe we
I
need to
like
have.
this, how Daryl's handing off the reins to a relative of a former board member. Kind of cool. Full circle a little bit.
I was on the board before Alec was born. It's a fact. And I was on the board before some of our board members graduated from high school, so.
I was born, just barely, but I was born.
Yeah,
Same.
you're right.
You were on the board that voted for our dance team in high school to go to nationals. I'll never forget that night. We came in uniform and sat in the board meeting,
How'd that work out?
and we got to go. And we placed in the top.
You're a dancer? Nice. I thought you were just a singer and a show choir person.
Well, I do the dance part of show choir. I don't do the singing part.
Oh, I think you did tell me that.
Yeah. In fact, I went in and cleaned middle school because Chloe had COVID on Saturday.
Oh, did you really? How was that fun?
I love middle school kids.
If it's
All right.
okay, I'm gonna go out there.
Yeah.
Bye, Daryl. Thank you, Daryl.
You guys are actually staying, huh?
Yeah, you can.
who's gonna be the new leadership.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, then we can go ahead and
Welcome.
call, welcome Tim and Alec. And the next meeting will be our organizational meeting, and Andrea Reyes will take over for that.
All right, I will call the organizational meeting to order. Miss Adkins?
Here.
Mrs. McDaniel? Here. Mrs. Peterson?
Here.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Here.
Mr. Sorensen?
Here.
Mr. Wright?
Here.
Right, and I will now administer the oath of office to our newly elected board members. Amy Adkins, Alex Sorensen, and Timothy Wright. If you guys will please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of director in the Lewis Central Community School District as now or hereafter required by law?
I will.
Have a seat. Here's your certificate of elections. All the rules of being board members also in that packet, so if you don't have anything to do this evening. All right. The next item on the agenda is the election of the board president. I will open the floor for nominations for the board president.
I would like to nominate Doreen Shuffle for board president.
Second. Am I coming through okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other nominations? All right, with no other nominations, I will call for a vote. Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
And Doreen, I will administer the oath of office to you, and then I will turn the meeting over to you. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Board President in the Lewis Central Community School District as now or hereafter required by law?
I will.
Thank you. Meeting is yours.
Thank you. All right, well then we'll go to the election of board vice president. Is there any nominations? Is there any nominations for vice president? As board president, can I nominate someone?
No,
I didn't think so.
You can nominate yourself,
you can nominate yourself, though.
then I'm going to nominate myself for board president.
Okay.
You're president?
Vice president. No, no,
Like,
no,
we already
no,
have a
vice
president.
president, vice president.
Are there any other nominations? Vote, please.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Miss Adkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. And do I do the oath?
I will.
Okay.
So this one, you'll please stand with me, Amy. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Vice President in Lewis Central Community School District as now or hereafter required by law?
Okay. All right, and now we need to appoint board secretary and treasurer. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Andrea Ray.
Second.
She was looking around hoping that nobody would. Let's bring back Anna.
Yeah. Any other nominations? All right, we'll close the nominations and vote, please.
Miss Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Miss Adkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Board Secretary and Treasurer in Lewis Central Community School District as now or hereafter required by law?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. All right, and now we have to name our district's depositories.
Yes, so the depositories are American National Bank, UMB, and IceJet. And the amounts listed in the packet.
And can we
I
just,
nominate to keep those as is.
Yes,
and do we need a second on that?
yes, we do.
Second.
and vote, please.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
All right, and now we name our official publications.
The official publication we are proposing is the Nopperell, as it is the only newspaper in Columbus.
I make a motion that we approve the Nonpareil as our official publication.
And we need a second?
I will second.
Ooh, good job, Tim.
Okay.
First, second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. We need to establish our meeting date, time, and location.
Madam Chair, I recommend that we approve it as presented.
And so as it's presented is,
I'm sorry.
yep, that's fine. So the board's typically done the first and third Monday of the month, and then it starts at 6:30 here in this Lewis Central Educational Resource Center. And this is unless there's extenuating circumstances, holidays, et cetera. We might have to change a date here and there, but by and large, probably 85% of the dates are on the first and third Monday of the month. So unless anybody has any huge conflict with that and needs to change.
Okay, so we have a motion to, as presented, can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Vote, please.
Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. And now we need to appoint board members for committee membership and assignments. The first one would be the Negotiations HR Committee.
So basically what this committee does for the new people is we, primarily it's for negotiations, but it's also people that I would go to, like board members I would go through to first. It's kind of nice having, so we don't have to take every conversation of the whole board. Like for instance, if I'm thinking about potentially making the recommendation that we're going to increase wages for somebody, or if we're going to take a look at all of our classified staff and look at levels, or have conversations about the salary schedule, or adding positions, or reducing positions, whatever it may be. It's nice to be able to have a couple board members to kind of bounce it off of. And then obviously nothing can happen without the say of the whole board, but it's great to have a couple board members on negotiations. So it's not just negotiations, it's outside of that. Now what the time commitment would be periodically throughout the year, or like phone calls. Like if I have particular questions, I might just want to, pick your ear on them. I'll shoot you a text or an email and say, hey, can you hop on the phone with me for a little bit? During negotiations, there will be at least one meeting, more than likely 2 or 3 meetings that we'll have to get together and talk about negotiations with the Education Foundation to decide what contracts are going to be moving forward.
And typically, are they just right after school? I mean, 4:30?
It just kind of depends. In the past, I've done early morning, I've done after school, I've done evening. It just kind of depends on whenever people are available, and I mean,
Okay.
I basically live here, so it's whenever. Like whenever anybody else can make it, like I'll be here. So
And when you meet with the LCEA, is that usually?
that's
typically-
usually right after school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to let the new board
Yeah.
members know the times
Yeah.
that have been in
So-
the past.
So the first thing that we would have to do is we would have to, the LCEA, you guys are gonna accept or you guys will receive their intent to negotiate tonight. And then we'll have to get together as an HR committee here in the next, end of this week, beginning of next week already, to start talking about, negotiations, because on the 18th, when we come back, they are gonna be prepared to provide their first, proposal, and then the board should be prepared to provide a rebuttal that night. So, so we'll have to meet together and talk about, you know, what we're looking at for, enrollment increases, budgets, those types of things, any recommendations, contract language, et cetera. So, I mean, be prepared to jump on within the next week or so and do some work.
And last year, I believe
Yeah.
you,
And
I'm
Jen.
sorry,
And
you.
Jen.
Just say you, Aaron and Jen, were you a part of it last year?
I feel like you were, yes.
Yeah, Jen,
no,
you
I
were-
was, but we only had, I
'cause we
think,
were in
one
that-
meeting, because
Yeah.
we
Got it done.
got it done,
Yeah.
so.
And I know we have before have taken a vote because we've had more than 3 board members interested in being on this committee.
Well, I would be happy to step down so that one of the 2 new members can join. I think it's good for some
Right.
cyclical
It's good to
movement.
have consistency with ones that have been on there, so it's not, everyone's new. Jen, are you? I would like to remain. Okay. Jen?
I would like to as well, unless,
Okay, and Aaron?
Yeah.
Anyone else interested in,
I'd volunteer.
okay, and Tim? All right, because we can't have more than 3, because we have to be below a quorum. So, all right, so then we'll do
Tim, Jen,
Jen,
and Aaron.
Aaron, and Tim.
Okay.
All right, and then, do we need to vote on that?
Yes, so as it stands now, I have McDaniel, Peterson, and Wright with nominations for the negotiations committee. So if there's
Okay.
no other nominations, then yes,
So
we can vote.
we just need a motion to approve,
Accept that slate.
accept
Yep.
accept those
Yep.
nominations.
So moved.
second.
All right, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Vote, please.
Mrs. McDaniel? Yes. Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. Mills County Conference Board.
So this will be the first time in 29 years that we haven't had somebody who lives in Mills County. So that means how the conference boards are made up is they're made up from a representative of city council from every city that's in the or every township or city that's within the county, and then a school board member from every school district in the county. So we won't have a representative for Mills. We'll have to vote somebody in for Potawatomi though. So basically what it is I think it's like 2 meetings a year, Daryl? Yeah, 2 meetings a year for Potawatomi County and for Mills.
So, but anyone can serve on for Mills. They don't have to live.
I think you have to live in Mills County, right?
I don't. I didn't
I was always
think
under
so.
the impression you had to live in Mills County.
Okay, so,
But
so
then we
who's gonna
wouldn't have
represent our
representation.
school district?
I was such a live in Mills County, I didn't think I had a choice.
Well,
Well,
what
for
you guys-
29 years, that was true.
Well, what I would say is you guys can vote somebody in, but we will double check that because I do believe you have to have somebody you have to be living in Mills County to make that decision. So to serve, to make any contribution on that board.
Our potential new member in January or whatever it is,
Yeah. No,
could
yeah,
potentially.
December 18th.
December 18th.
Now, the other thing is the other reason I say that is because when I was in Missouri Valley, we almost didn't have somebody from Potawatomi County, and so without somebody from Potawatomi County, we wouldn't have been able to fit that seat, is what I was told, so,
Okay, well, we'll find out.
yeah.
Or do we want to wait until the next meeting?
I think you can go ahead and just say this is who the person would be if we were to elect somebody, and then, because they do want a name, and then I'll find out.
Okay,
They emailed us in November wanting a name, so.
okay. Is there anyone willing to do this committee?
If they allow you.
I've done Pot County, so if you, go ahead.
Mills County?
Okay. Okay, Alex said he would do it. Anyone else? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and they don't meet until when?
I think January.
January? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
But I'll find out tomorrow.
Okay,
But you guys
all
can.
right, we can go ahead with the motion. Can someone make a motion?
I nominate Alex Sorensen as the Mills County Conference Board representative.
So moved.
Second? Any further discussion? Vote, please.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel? Yes. Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. All right, then for Potawatomi County Conference Board. Is anyone willing to,
I'd volunteer.
Tim will? Anyone else?
That one's easy. It's close.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
All right?
Second.
Second.
And a second?
We'll let Alec have this.
There you go.
Alec has the
Alec.
second, okay. Just jump right in there, it's okay. Any further discussion? Vote, please.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel? Yes. Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. Facility Committee.
So, I just looking for a couple people to serve on a facility committee. This will help us as we move forward and planning meetings and trying to determine what we need as we start building and solidifying our plans for next summer. Looking at our 5, 10, 20-year plan, making sure we're taking a look at building a deferred maintenance plan. We're currently in the process of that. So just a couple people to be involved in those meetings. So when we do bring recommendations back to the board, that we have,
I think Amy and I were the two,
yeah, that's who we had kind of talked about, yep.
yeah. And I'm willing to do it again.
Yeah, me too.
Anyone else, do you want more than,
You can
We can
have
have
2 or
three.
3, yep. As long as it's less than a quorum.
okay.
I would volunteer.
Alec?
Anyone?
Okay.
Alec? Okay. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we
Sorry,
have a
Jen.
motion and second. Any further discussion? So it'll be Alec, Amy, and myself. Vote, please.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McDaniel? Yes. Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. Reports, 10.01, Superintendent Report.
So I just have a couple things here. So facilities, just quick updates on things not related to planning. We finally have a pool update. So just to kind of keep everybody kind of abreast of what's been going on there, we had a hard time finding contractors that were willing to come in and do the work. And when we say do the work, there's a couple things that need to be done yet. We need to replace the ceiling grid that's up there. We need to replace the lights, and then we need to do like some cleaning in there, and then do the skylights. So on the north side of the pool, there's a set of skylights that finding somebody to come in and be able to do that work or interested in doing that work right now is very hard. Just literally couldn't get anybody to come and do bids. We finally had 2 companies come in and provide competing bids, because that's what the insurance company was requiring. The insurance company did not like those bids. They said they were too high. And so we sat for, again, a few more weeks sitting there saying, okay, well, now what? Because the 2 companies we had come in and provide bids, you didn't agree with them, so now you need to find somebody. So they found a construction company, and I think they were on site, I believe, end of last week to do some initial prep stuff, I think. But hopefully they're gonna get that. Right now the goal is to insulate where the skylights are and do that work in the spring, but just kind of really, I mean, it's sealed now, but it's sealed to plastic. So before we get snow and everything else, like really put some insulation in there, and then I mean, the roof's done, but then replacing the ceiling grid and the lights, and then making sure that we're watertight so we can start filling the pool. So we're hoping that, cross our fingers, we're hoping that by winter break, we have water in the pool, so we can start swimming after winter break. So we'll see. That's been quite the debacle. So we also have so people have been driving by and asking us, what's going on with our marquee in front of the high school. That's another weird thing. So we've gone through like 4 sign companies to try to figure out what to do with that marquee. That marquee is kind of end of life. It's going to be a minimum of $10,000+ to fix. That's if they can fix it, is what they've come up to right now. So it's one of those things that goes on a facility list, and to say, do we have to have a marquee? No, but it's nice when people turn into our facility to be able to know kind of what some key events are, what we're even hosting that night. That's what we do right now, is we put on, LC football game, LC basketball, whatever's going on at the high school. So when people drive by and think, well, why are all those cars there? They can kind of see what's going on. And then if you drive by and look at the Lewis Central, it's not very bright, and it's just because some of the bulbs and stuff, it's a lot electrical. So I don't know what the plan is for that, but I thought I'd give an update on that. December 18th, I will be bringing in a planning company, kind of a project manager to, I think the next logical step is to focus on what now? What do we do now? The bond didn't pass, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is, but what now? We still have a lot of work that needs to be done. We need to take a look at spatial issues. We still need to develop kind of a deferred maintenance plan. We need to decide, what are next steps. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring in a company that we've kind of vetted and had some conversations with, project advocates, and they're going to come and they're going to meet with you guys on the 18th and talk about the work they do for some other school districts, including West Side. They were instrumental in helping with the police station, the new police station. So making sure that, and for us, they would serve as kind of like an owner's rep and a planning guide. So a company that would help us just help develop like what's next, like how do we pick up the reins, how do we pick up the stuff that we have and make it make sense and come up with some different options, because I'm not a believer in, and when something doesn't pass, just keep hammering the same plan home. My goal would be to take the feedback we receive from the community, and then try to devise a new plan that fits better with what it is our community needs, and what their feedback was. I think that's part of a vote, right? Because you don't just go get a vote, but you request feedback. If you're not for it, why aren't you for it? What can we do, as we move forward? What other suggestions do you have? Whatever alternatives do you have? And so making sure that we have, we take that feedback and the next plan is something that better fits. So that's facilities. Moving forward, one of the things I'm going to recommend, and I was going to start this month, but we're just packed full this month. So starting in January, you'll start to see some different people showing up to each board meeting. So one board meeting you might have, Andrea's going to go, and I'm going to have her do like more of a presentation on finance. Where do we sit? Where do our balances sit? What do we have coming up? Kind of doing that kind of thing, like short 10 to 15 minute presentations. To kind of give you guys some feedback, or just give you guys some information. I thought with new board members coming on, it would be good to kind of provide those opportunities. So you'll hear from Andrea, you'll hear from Dr. Hartman. She'll present on curriculum instruction and assessment. We call her the director of the CIA around here. So, but she'll give a variety of overviews, so you guys know what we're doing in professional development. You guys know, like, we'll talk about, like, what are we doing with libraries right now? What are we doing with, early learning, early literacy? What are we doing in math? So she'll be able to give some updates on those. Facilities and grounds, I'll have Jim Edelman start popping his head in here and making sure that you guys understand where do we sit with facilities and grounds. And the nice thing about Jim is he's not really going to hold anything back. He'll sit there and tell you exactly what's going on in the district. So And then the last thing is principals. You know, one of the things I really liked, and we were obviously a smaller district in Missouri Valley, but you know, all the principals came to the board meetings. And I'm not, if principals are out there listening, I'm not by any means suggesting you should come to every board meeting. But I think it was great because it offered an opportunity for each one of the principals to give a quick update about their school, you know, so they can talk about, you know, what's going on with their students, what's going on with their staff, what's going on with scores, what are they excited about, what are they worried about, you know, just kind of what's going on with your activities, you know, kind of giving you guys an inside look as to what's going on in each building. So I'll have them in the rotation as well. So you guys can expect to have somebody at almost every board meeting moving forward, unless something catastrophic happens. So.
Well, and that's good, because that was pre-COVID.
Right.
We used to do that. We used to do that here at Lewis Central until COVID hit, and then it was, all the focus went to what do we need to do for the students and teachers and staff, and then bringing people in. But yes, that's something I know the board has talked about, and it's great that we're getting back to that.
Perfect. And then transportation, you guys can expect to see, if not the 18th, the beginning of January. I'm going to bring a couple buses to you guys for purchase. Those are pricey, but I think that we haven't bought buses in a few years, so we need to make sure that we have 28 buses. We got to be replacing at least 2 a year, if not 3. Legislatively, the governor has come out already and said that she's going to focus on teacher pay. That's fantastic. I will, I can't wait to see how they plan to fund it, because I've heard, you know, it's kind of one of those things where, you know, they might offer I shouldn't go down this path. I won't. I'm gonna restrict myself. I have seen in the past where you have to be careful what you wish for, because things aren't always what they appear. So if you, for instance, I know that through one side, they're talking about raising teacher pay. On the other side, they're talking about cutting AEAs. So I know that if that's one of the ways they're planning on raising teacher pay, that's not going to raise teacher pay, because right now the AEAs offer us a lot of support for a variety of things, but predominantly special education, special services. And so if they cut AEAs and they cut the funding and they say, here's your funding that would otherwise go to AEAs, we're going to have to turn around and hire our own speech pathologists, occupational therapists, SPED directors. I mean, or SPED representatives. We're going to have to hire our own people, and so that's not going to raise teacher pay. So I do want to just make sure that you guys, as I start seeing those recommendations, I'm going to start tossing them out to you guys with some talking points, because again, every year I get to legislative session and I think, oh, please just leave us alone 1 year. Like, just let us be. Give us a moderate increase and just don't talk to us anymore, you know. But that doesn't seem to be the direction we're going. So sometimes what sounds great to some people has a bad effect for others. Open enrollment was a great example of that, you know. To some people, it sounded really good to say, we need to give students choice and parents freedom, and we need to open enrollment up to anybody who wants to open enroll. But then the schools that are trying really hard to be a good district for our kids, not saying other schools aren't, and are viewed as a desirable location, now all of a sudden we have this influx that we can't stop. And we have kids coming and going daily, and our teachers and our staff are creating schedules and then getting rid of schedules and entering them into systems. I mean, you're talking about just a complete waste of taxpayer money is when I have a staff member that devotes an hour of their day to creating a schedule and entering a kid, and just to have that kid come for 2 days and then leave and go to a different district. Like that's a complete waste. And so we do have to, I hesitate when I hear things about we're going to raise teacher pay. I hesitate to get excited, because I think, and so how are we going to, who's Peter and how are we going to rob him to pay Paul? You know, like that's kind of what I look at. So, but I'll keep those out there. I'll keep those updates coming for you guys. Calendar. So people have been asked about calendar. December 18th, I'm going to bring you guys a Two calendars. I'm going to bring you the proposed 24-25 calendar and the proposed 25-26 calendar. It's going to go to our staff tomorrow. Well, it'll go to our principals. They'll share it with their leadership teams on Wednesday, and then they'll give feedback as well. So I got feedback last year from parents about what their top priorities are. I'm going to assume that those haven't changed. I just did it last year. I'll probably survey parents about every couple years. But I do know that, their priorities were getting out before June, a spring break if we can have them, and then obviously, Christmas break, or winter break, Thanksgiving break, those were priorities. So taking a look at that. And then, so on January 8th, that'd be the goal, to have the board hearing on January 8th, because we have to have a hearing in order to approve the calendars, and then people will have their calendars for next year. I know people are already trying to plan their August vacations before school starts, and I just keep telling them, well, school's always going to start on the 23rd unless they change it. So outside of that, that'll always be when it starts. Next year, that's a Friday. So last thing is, so I went to a conference, and this is just kind of one of the cool things, kind of a kudos type of thing to not only our board but our staff in general. I go to a conference, and I went out to Boulder, Colorado, and I'm out there, and we're having this conversation with a lot of different superintendents across the nation about kind of fireside chat about what makes your school unique. What do you and I just said, really, we're just kind of really good at everything. Just we are. I don't really know. I'm not trying to blow us up, but we are just kind of good at everything. We're good at fine arts. We're good at academics. We're good at sports. We're good at. We're just kind of really good at stuff. And we had a speaker earlier that day, and what the speaker had talked about was compliance versus commitment. And which side are you on? Are you somebody who is just out there for the bare minimum, and your whole point of your life is to be compliant, or are you really committed? And there is a difference between compliance and commitment. And so, and I think that's kind of my new mantra is everything I do. I'm like, okay, so am I just trying to be compliant right now, or am I really committed? Am I really asking the questions? Am I taking it a step further? Am I doing what really needs to be done? And I would say that our staff here at Lewis Central, we're committed, and it's really cool because they do all the extras. It's how you're successful. And if I start, a lot of people will start pointing out, well, can you believe you only pay this staff member this much? I'm like, hey, look at all of our other staff members. They only get paid this much in these extracurricular roles. And extracurricular in particular, I feel like, you're getting paid pennies on the dollar, and the product that we're turning out is phenomenal, whether it's fine arts or activities or sports or whatever. And so kudos to our staff for truly being committed. Anybody can do stuff during the season, but it's after the season. It's all the extras that you do that really makes the difference. So kudos to everyone. So that's it.
Any questions for the report? Comments? All right, well then we'll go to our discussion items. 11.01, board member vacancy.
So like we talked about, due to the result of the election, and Alec probably being the best political person ever, I don't know, I've never heard of anybody else who wins 2 seats in one election. So congratulations to Alec. Alec for president someday. So, but we will have a board vacancy in the 2-year term. So right now, last Thursday, we sent because the non-parental only publishes 3 days now a week, so we sent the opening to the non-parental last Thursday. They advertised it on Saturday. If the people who want an application can pick them up here at the district office here. They're due on December 15th, which will be the Friday before the board meeting. And then on the December 18th, the recommendation would be for the board to conduct interviews and make a decision that night. Basically what I need from the board is, do we want to set a interview time now, or do we want to see how many applicants we get? And the reason I say that is because board meeting starts at 6:30 typically. Do we want to say we're going to start at 5:30, but if we only get, 2 people that want to interview, we're starting at 5:30 and we're done by 5:45, so then we have to sit around for 45 minutes before we can start the regular board meeting? Do we just want to play it by ear, and I'll announce a time when I send out the and the regular board meeting would still be planned to start at 6:30. We'll plan interviews maybe that Friday when we have all the applications, and we'll publish that in the agenda, the interview time, but those will be, so I guess, what do you guys
I will
want?
play it by ear.
Just kind of play it by ear?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think so.
That works for me.
What is the earliest you guys can start?
I have all day.
I know, Jen, you're not gonna be there, right?
No, I am going to be there.
Oh, you are?
18th.
Okay, you are gonna be there. Is it 5 o'clock? Is that the earliest you can start?
No, I can start earlier.
Okay, well, I don't know. I mean, we would have to have like 20 applicants to start before 5, but I don't know that we're gonna look for that many, so. Okay, so you guys are all good, okay?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. All right, no action on that one then.
Okay. Then we'll go to 11.02, early notification of resignation incentive.
So, teachers really don't have to submit a resignation until their renewing contract is due. So that would usually be about, April 6th or so. And so our recommendation would be, just like the last few years, to provide an early retirement or early notification incentive, that if they notify by the end of the day on January 31st, that they'll receive a $1,500 bonus, so to speak. And the rationale is that it's hard enough to find teachers we're competing against. Like last year, for early graduates, or last year, like math candidates in general, I think there were 6 in the entire state of Iowa. 6 total math candidates across all colleges that graduated with a teaching degree last year. And so, because there's not a lot of teachers out there, we got to get on them early. So when we have late resignations, like in April or beyond, that makes it very, very difficult to get a quality applicant to be able to hire, especially if they've already signed on with their current district. So by providing some incentive, we get a much better chance of hiring a good quality candidate. So yeah, I mean, we cap them at 15. Last year we had 6. Is that how many we had last year?
We had 10.
Or 10. We had 10 last year. Okay. Oh yeah, it's right there in the.
So the cost to the district was the 22.5.
Yep.
22.5 is the max that it can be.
22.5 is the max. So last year we had 10 at 15, so it's $15,000.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
The
But here,
maximum,
for
I see that.
comparison, every week we advertise in the Omaha World Herald costs us $900. It's $900 for a little tiny advertisement in the Omaha World Herald every week. So ideally, if we have time, we don't have to advertise in the Omaha World Herald. The only time you'll see us advertise in the Omaha World Herald anymore because of the price is if we're just, we can't find anybody, so.
And this is only for teaching positions, correct?
That is correct. Certified.
Yep, so.
Certified staff positions.
Teachers and administrators.
Yep.
And administrators, okay. Is there any discussion?
One note is we've already had some teachers that have submitted their retirement for next year. They've already told us, we had one in August that said, how soon do you want me to give you my retirement? Because I'm gonna retire at the end of the year and I want you to have plenty of time. And I'm like, well, I won't even advertise till like December. So I said, you got some time, but they still submitted it, I think, in September. So, so they would still qualify. It's anybody prior moving forward, so.
Any discussion on this? No. Jen, do you have anything?
No.
All right, we'll go to 11.03, LCEA, intent to negotiate.
So they provided a letter. Do we have the letter up there? Do you have the letter? Okay, forward it to. Give me 1 second here. We'll get it. Andrea will forward it to Lisa and we'll get it up here. So each year, the LCEA has to initiate negotiations by providing us a letter that just states their intent to negotiate. And then the next meeting then is traditionally, which will be the 18th, is when they would come with their first proposal, and then the board would counter with their proposal. So, and then that essentially just opens up negotiations officially, and then we kind of go there. And then the committee will meet with me, and the committee will meet with LCEA, and we'll try to come up with a landing point, and then they have to take that landing point and go present it to their people, and then we take it and present it to the board, and that's how we ratify everything. So, so this is just the, it just says Lewis Central Education Association is notifying you of its intent to bargain. Suggest the bargaining session for the 2024-25 wages and benefits. The master contract be held in December 2023. So just a quick overview for those of you. Essentially what we bargain is what's in the contract, primarily base wage. That's the only thing that's required by the state of Iowa to be negotiated. Everything else is kind of up to, is considered permissible, which means, or there are some permissible and some non-negotiable. So like insurance, like health insurance, is a non-negotiable. We can't negotiate that with the association. Other things we can have conversations about, and so that's if it's in their contract. So there's going to be some. I've made some recommendations to them this year about some potential things that I'm going to ask the board to include in their proposal. They're going to make some recommendations, and we'll find a middle point eventually. So looks like Kim Yuta, Christina Woodward, Dave Bergman, Rob Riggs, Darla Dixon, Ron Frost, Terry York, Heidi White, and then Angela Schoening, and then Sarah Dressel is the Southwest Iowa director of the Iowa Education Association. So she'll be on their side and helping with their coming up with their proposal. So I will work with they're asking for a couple of meeting dates up there. I will work with our committee to find some meeting dates that work for everybody's schedule.
Any discussion from anyone? Okay. And the last 11.04 standards of effective school board self-evaluation. Did new board members, did you get a copy of this evaluation, self-evaluation? I think that's at your chair.
It's right underneath your computer.
Oh, is it here?
There you go. Okay. And just to recap, all 7 board members through November of 2023 filled this out. The standards are a visionary team, and they I can send you a copy of what the self-evaluation, because they do have bullet points of what you look at. And so basically, visionary team operate as a visionary governance team in partnership with the superintendent. And then it was a score between 0 and 10 that you would rate the self-evaluation, you would rate us as a board. And it was visionary team, student learning, district culture, policy and legal, fiscal responsibility, advocacy, and board meeting structure. And the lowest I think we've had before, which we have had, was advocacy, because as a board, it's an individual. I guess if we want to advocate for Lewis Central to our state and federal representatives, Personally, I don't know who on the board has contacted representatives or anything. We hope everyone on the board does. But that was the one where we've always, the board as a whole on other evaluations have felt that we needed to be more proactive in. Otherwise, the lowest score, and that was one of the lowest scores, was I believe a 5. Otherwise, we had scores, the ratings between 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10 on all of them. And so you have the information. You can, we really didn't have but a couple comments. And so everyone has those comments. And we do this, it seems like we've been doing it like every 2 years before past board, or board members who aren't going to run again, or before the election. And then that way we can evaluate ourselves to see, make sure that we're going in the right direction as a board. Do you guys have any discussion or questions on what is presented? Okay, then we'll go ahead in our agenda. The next part of our agenda is comments and suggestions. And so this is the second time during our agenda that anyone in the audience or anyone online, if they would like to address the board, can do so now. Okay, and hearing none, we'll go on to our action items. 13.01, early notification of resignation incentive.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Adkins.
I'd like to make a board motion to approve the issuance of an early notification of resignation incentive in the amount of $1,500 for the first 15 qualified applicants due January 31st, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is any discussion? And actually, you would be seconding it.
Oh, sorry.
You second her
Second.
motion?
My bad.
Okay. So, just to get that straight. Okay, we have a second. Any discussion with that?
Ms. Atkins? Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
Vote, please.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Ms. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheffield?
Yes. 13.02, standards for effective school board self-evaluation. Can I get a motion to approve the evaluation as presented?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Adkins?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the results of the 2021 standards, or 2023, right?
Oh, yeah.
It says 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my fault.
Okay,
Copy
just
me,
making sure.
please.
Standards for effective school board self-evaluation.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mrs. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Sorensen?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheffield?
Yes. Items of interest, future board meetings. Our next regular board meeting will be December 8th. 18th, I'm sorry. You are going to let us know.
Yep, I'll let you know when the interviews would start. So
Okay.
the board meeting will still start at 6:30. Interviews will start prior to that.
Okay. And I'd like to welcome Tim again and Alec again. If there's anything I can do, text me, give me a call. I'll give direction on who to contact if you're not sure. And I know Andrea will be setting up to review bills, how we do to review the invoices and bills that we get. I know we can talk, I know before, and if you want to, we have had kind of like a work session if there's to go over things also, and board members, that's when we used to have Darryl-isms. He would, his take on things, and so, so if that's something that, you know, you feel that's needed or would like to do, maybe we could set something out and do it an hour before one of the board meetings. And I know December's really busy, so maybe it's January.
Yeah,
So-
and we'll go to, we have the in January, there's a new board workshop in Glenwood, so I just remember now I have to get a sign up for that, but I'll get us in that, so.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, anything else? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
So, there you go. Nice shot.
All in favor, say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Jen? Oh, thank you. Anyone opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.